Welcome, rally fans. We're standing here at the end of Lake Superior Performance Rally. David, your first time up into the Upper Peninsula of Northern Michigan. What can you tell me about it?
It's amazing. Great place. But I think I'm kind of missing that, well, good afternoon, rally fan, Dirtfish fans. We're missing Colin Clark, aren't we? He's been with us for the whole event. Just before we get into the review, Cole, we are missing you. He took an earlier flight back this morning. But yeah, what a place. What a place. You know, we are standing almost in Lake Superior. It's fantastic. You're part of the world. You know, you've banged on about this place for too long and blah, blah, blah. Michigan's great and all that. Actually, he's right. It is pretty special.
Yeah, you know, this being kind of one of my home events here, and me being from Michigan, I know all about the area, and I've obviously been spreading that knowledge all year, kind of encouraging you to come here. Finally got you to come to the event.
It's amazing.
Yeah, and you know, we're here in the fall, seeing all the colors, seeing one of the Great Lakes. You'll have to check out the rest of them, but it is a 5 or 6 hour drive in every direction to see all those.
Now, everywhere this weekend is a 5 or 6 hour drive from Brenton's home. Everywhere, all over America, it's 5 or 6 hour drive. But no, it's been a great, you know, when I arrived here, I kind of knew a little bit about Press On Regardless and stuff, but didn't really resonate so much. We're obviously Dirtfish from Washington, the other side of America, and we talk all day about the Olympus Rally. And you just kind of forget, Press On Regardless had a massive impact on American rallying. It was the first WRC round back in '73 to come here. And it's just great. It's great to see the community of American rallying here. For me, it's one of the strongest. I've done a few rounds this year, but just to see people like Steve Gingras, not Gingras, Gingras, and obviously Eric Carlson, these two co-chairmen of the whole event, to see the passion and the enthusiasm, and it's just spread throughout the event. It's amazing. It's been one of the best weeks of covering the sport I can remember in a long time.
So let's get into the highlights of the rally. Plenty of great action throughout the field here in Northern Michigan this weekend, with competitors going full send to the final round of the season. Brandon Semenuk took an early lead, but had to mitigate a little bit of sweeping off of the roads on the first loop, falling into a groove on the second loop and continuing that pace throughout the weekend. Let's hear from Brandon about how his weekend went.
It's a great year. Hats off to Super Motorsports, and huge thanks to all the technicians and everybody involved for, the cars are so reliable for us this year, the new and old, obviously. They really made this year successful. I feel like I played a small part in that, and obviously I hope for more seat time next year and some good battles, and hopefully good success as well.
You've been at Rally for 10, 12 years now. When you were starting out, did you ever picture yourself being in this position?
No, not at all. It was purely passion, just fun in the car, and never my wildest dreams that I think I'd be, with a team like Super Motorsports USA and driving machinery like this. So it's a pleasure, and I'm so grateful for it every time I get in the car.
Patrick Gruszka secured the RC2 national champion prior to the event. Pat had a smooth weekend overall, finishing second place. Let's hear from Pat about how his weekend went.
I feel great. We did everything we strived for, just to sort of finish clean and not break anything on the car. Sure, there was some hiccups, but at the end of the day, we're here, and we're glad we can see all the fans at Marquette.
Yeah. We saw you progress a lot throughout the season. We're going to see you back next year.
I think yeah. I'm going to probably sort of sit down after this event, make a plan for next year. We're definitely going to finish out Nitro, and we'll see, but for sure. I love rally, so I'll definitely be back.
Rounding off the podium in third place was Javier Olivares. Javier had a great battle for the limited four-wheel drive national championship with Matthew Dickinson coming into the event. All Javier had to do was win the power stage and finish the rally to lock up the championship. Let's hear from Javier about his weekend.
It's just been a fantastic season, and this is an amazing rally to finish it on, so really, really happy, yeah.
Going into the season, was this your intention, to win the championship, or did you just kind of start to unfold and keep going as you went?
Yeah, not at all. We didn't even know we were going to be in limited class when we got the car, and so the season was just all about learning the car and learning to drive faster. And as it evolved, like we started climbing out of our points deficit, and it became possible. And for me, it was one rally at a time. I think the team was a little more invested in the championship than I was, and so I'm really happy, especially for them. It's been a huge effort from a lot of people to put this together.
We hadn't seen Greg Bugaj since last year's LSPR. He considers this event now his home event, recently purchasing property near the event since he enjoys the area so much. Greg is known for being very quick on these roads, especially in the mud and the night stages. Let's hear from Greg about his weekend.
We're feeling awesome. There's an inside joke. Our family's been following the lives, and I say awesome too much, so this is awesome. That's for them. Yeah, but it really was awesome. We had a great battle between Dickinson and Oliveras. We didn't have an answer for the Rally 3, but we did our best and we made it to the finish. We're ecstatic.
Leah Block started off the rally with some great stage times, finishing 3rd and 4th overall. Leah was forced to retire just after stage 3 when the car would not restart going into the stage 4 time control. Let's hear from Leah.
Yeah, we just went to go start the car and it's not starting. That's the basic way to put it, but we tried everything we can and it's not something we can fix on our own. So it sucks because I was really enjoying this rally and I was putting down some pretty good stage times. 3rd outright in the last stage, or the stage before. So I was looking forward to the rest of this rally, but I guess it's cut very short. So that's unfortunate.
So what happened? You were pulling into the time control on stage 3 and you shut the car off, or what exactly happened there?
No, just here at the stage 4. I went and I stopped and then I was in 2nd gear and then I went to go down to 1st and it just kind of cut off and I was like, okay, it's done that before, just put in 1st gear, put in neutral, tried to turn it back on, didn't start. So we tried everything. We pushed it forward, we pushed it backwards, we tried to jump start it, we did everything, but it just didn't work.
Having a little bit of seat time though now in the all-wheel drive, if you do end up doing another championship here in the US, what would you think? Back to rear wheel or?
Yeah, no, now that I've gotten a taste of all-wheel drive, there's no way I can go back. It was fun to go front wheel to rear wheel drive, and I think that's really been able to help me with my car control and into a all-wheel drive car, just overall have a round set of skills in both ways. So yeah, definitely not going back.
Moving on down the line in the national classes, Santiago Iglesias finished 1st place overall, limited 2-wheel drive national. Michael Hooper had a great rally, staying consistent throughout the event, locking in the open 2-wheel drive win here at LSPR. Let's hear from Hooper about his weekend.
Glad we made it. It's a tricky day, tricky conditions. Glad to be here. Looking forward to next year.
And speaking on next year, when are we going to see you back? What's your plans?
Still kind of looking around, but we'll be back and excited. There's going to be some fast folks coming out next year. I know Brad's been working on his car. Seamus is rebuilding. Nick Allen's got a new car. It's getting fixed from Ohio. So hopefully it'll be a good year next year.
The battle for the limited 2-wheel drive national championship this weekend was exciting, with Chris Sladek and Sean Donnelly battling it out. All Sean had to do was get to the finish to secure the limited 2-wheel drive national championship. Let's hear from Sean about his weekend.
Mechanical sympathy and self-restraint, that was the themes for today. It was a long game and it feels really nice.
Like you've been saying that all weekend, it's a long game. It's harder to kind of pull yourself back. What was going through your mind on these last 2 stages, knowing the championship's on the line, got to get to the finish? What was going through your mind?
Yeah, it was to take it easy and enjoy it. Someone actually went off in a pretty bad. I'm not sure they're gonna be able to get pulled out. So he looked at me and said, "Thanks for not doing that."
Chris Sladek was debuting a brand new Acura Integra of the Hart Rally team. Let's hear from Chris about his weekend.
Can't really thank the team enough for the car they put together, and all the hours really paid off. The car felt great. I think we just barely tapped the potential of the platform. There's a lot of improvements we can still make, and the car's already fast, so can't ask for much more than that.
Car 102, Arik in his 2011 Subaru Impreza with the H6 Subaru motor finished 1st place in naturally aspirated 4-wheel drive. Let's hear from Arik about his weekend.
Finished, that's the goal, and it was good 2 days of racing. the weather didn't cooperate today, but that's part of the rallying, and yeah, we had fun for sure.
And looking at times, were you paying attention to times at all today? Where'd you end up?
No, not really. No, I'm not into the mix with the turbo cars, with the non-turbo car, but we just held our position.
The regional entry list was impressive as ever. Zachary Jacques and his dad Ron Jacques won open four-wheel drive in the regional as well as first place overall. Not without some struggles though. We talked to Ron Jacques at the end of stage 15 about their radiator damage. What happened? Can you give us just a quick word?
We really didn't see it till the end. I mean, we were done, and then when we stopped,
stick must have popped up
and
there?
it dried out there nicely. Yeah, we rocked it, yeah.
Okay. We talked to Zach just at the end of the rally. Wasn't quite sure if he secured the overall win, but he brought it home.
So we got a ton of help from our other competitors. It was fantastic. They really pulled together for us. We pinched it shut like you saw, but it immediately overheated again, and it was pouring out the fluid. So we got a tow in all the way here. Got to the start. We had that 5 gallons. We stopped at a lake and filled up the 5 gallons and put more water in there. And then got a hand again to try to recrimp it, and then I went and overcrimped it and screwed it up and made the leak worse. So then we just freaking hammered a screwdriver in there and just have coasted and topped it off before ATC on each one.
Is there a screwdriver in the radiator right now?
Screwdriver's driven into the bottom of that radiator right now.
And how's it looking times-wise? Do you feel pretty confident about
No, I'm sure we lost the rally, but we don't give a we
Really?
just want to finish.
We got the rally.
I mean,
I'm confident. We got a minute and a half to spare on these two.
I doubt it.
Nobody's making.
I don't. Whatever.
it's got to be close. It's got to be close.
It's close.
We finished. That's all I wanted was just to finish the rally
Is that
after being out for a
screwdriver
year and a
still in
half, man.
Levi Johnson had a pretty dominant weekend in open two-wheel drive regional, bringing home second place overall in the regional class, as well as that first place open two-wheel drive. Let's hear from Levi about his weekend.
Feeling pretty happy. Last year was our first event out there. We got kind of taken out early on that, so we wanted to come here and finish, and then we wanted to finish strong for our season, so I think we did just both of those. So yeah, awesome event. It was rough. Car was barely holding together, bent strut or bent steering knuckles, rough stages, but we had a blast. Awesome event.
The Farrow brothers, John and Michael Farrow, rounded off the podium with third place overall regional, as well as first place overall for limited four-wheel drive. Let's hear from John about their weekend.
I'm feeling good. Like you said, we made it to the finish, which is the most important part. We stayed on the road, and we don't know the results yet, so we'll probably have to wait here for the next 2-3 hours until we have the podium ceremony, but waiting in suspense,
And what about the fuel pump? You had the wires, you said you were changing them out. Did you guys have to do a little bit more of that after stage 15? I think it's the last time we saw you?
different this time.
They do.
Yeah, so at service, we took a bigger wire and wrapped it more so it wouldn't melt. What we found out was actually the fuel filter is plugging because our fuel cell is deteriorating. So the foam is sucking into the fuel cell, and it's 3 or 4 stages, and then it plugs up, and then it melts the wire.
Chris Sear secured first place limited two-wheel drive regional. We spoke with Chris at the finish line about his rally.
I am so excited. It's been a good rally. It's a tough rally. So many different conditions and things that happen at this rally. It's everything people say it is, and this is my first time here, and I think we got first, so I'm pretty stoked about that.
Dylan Gondike secured the NA four-wheel drive regional class win, not without some gearbox struggles on stage 13. We talked to Dylan just at the end of stage 13 to find out what was going on.
It was pretty awful. I lost second and fourth gear on Valkysa Wildcat. So we had first, third, and fifth. Not a great selection to choose from for this stage, and we're really hoping we can keep the trans together for the rest of the day because we don't have time to change it now.
So you still only have first, third, and fifth?
That's right, yeah.
Matt Hoffman and his Chevy Sonic had a little run-in with a deer here in northern Michigan on stage 13. Let's hear from Matt about his rally.
60 miles an hour. No, I didn't even see it come out, just ran out in front of us, so. Yeah, oh well, it is what it is, it's rally. We finished, didn't hurt too bad.
Still made it to the finish. How you feeling right now?
Great, I'm glad, I'm happy. Good learning weekend. I mean, we had a flat last night, and just me being stupid overdriving, overcooked it. He did great. We just got caught up in the moment and got a late check-in, or early check-in, which is my fault, considering that we did it, So, and then today deer hit, whatever. We'll fix it. We'll be back.
Yeah, it's been amazing to see over 400 volunteers, 73 competitors, I believe, started the rally. It just so much all coming together to make this happen. A very spread out rally, 17 stages, completely different stages Friday night to Saturday.
Yeah.
Something to...
Weird thing though as well, we kept on talking about Friday morning, and this was a slightly strange thing that it took me a while to get used to. The fact that the event started at 2 o'clock. So, and then there were 2 loops of 4 stages, and it went on into the final Friday stage was a night stage. But we kept banging on about, on Friday morning. There wasn't a Friday morning. Friday morning was Parc Exposé, and it started at 2 and carried on. But Friday was really different to Saturday in terms of the nature of the roads, wasn't it?
Yeah, definitely. Friday we had that, like you said, 2 loops of 4 stages, a little bit faster, flowier stages, very, very smooth, not a lot of car breakers. At the end of day 1, we only saw maybe, I think, 4 or 5 cars out.
Yeah.
And a couple of offs here or there, and then maybe just getting a little too excited. We even had 1 car go off on the very first corner of the rally. So,
yes. Yeah, a little too excited there. Yeah. But I guess, Friday, the big story of certainly Friday, I nearly said again, Friday morning loop, but there wasn't a Friday morning loop. The first loop on Friday was Leah Block, and there's been such anticipation and expectation of what she could do. Obviously driving the Escort Cosy, her father Ken's car, and even talking to Brandon Semenuk before the start, he was excited to see what she could do, and it did work out for 3 stages, some sensational times, but then it kind of all went a bit wrong, didn't it?
Yeah, at the start of 4, we were actually at the stage. We just finished up our Dirtfish Live Center interviews, and we were about to head back to service to grab those, I would say midday, but evening interviews into that service because there was no Friday morning. And then we see just a group of people, let's say spectators at the start with their Christmas lights set up there, and pushing the car down the hill, trying to bump start it to get it into gear.
Which is not, you never, ever, unless cars are sort of shuffling around to get the car, that if there's a late car coming into a control, you might get cars reversing, but generally you don't see that on a rally. And it was weird to see this Escort coming back downhill and a lot of commotion going on around it.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting to see because it was on such a steep start of the stage. They originally just had 15 people push it up the hill, try to bump start it. They thought that was it, just get it started and go, but they actually had to back it down into the road.
Yeah.
Do it 2 or 3 more times. I may have saw your hands on there pushing the car a little bit too.
It was me. I was the power behind it. I was probably the reason it didn't start, actually. Sorry for that. What strikes me with those moments, and we see them time and again, and you've lived these moments, is that you get the moment where it's not working, right, let's fix it, and I think Leah had kept a crash helmet on, and there's massive energy to get everything sorted and try everything and being on the phone to the team, and then suddenly it's like, it's not going to work. And she took her helmet off and she sat on the door bar, and suddenly that energy goes, doesn't it? The vibe is completely dead then, and it's tough.
Yeah, it's one of those things, you're sitting there, you got a lot of downtime before the stage, 2-3 minutes, I say a lot, but you're sitting there and you're relaxed, you're calm, collected, and then they had, a minute left, and they go to hit the start button, and it doesn't start. And then all of a sudden, it's on. You get that rush of adrenaline, like you're saying, and it's go, 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 figure this thing out.
And it was really sad to see, but, there were 72 other crews out there that put on a sensational show, and the action was fantastic. And as we moved from Friday, obviously, Brandon Semenuk moved into quite a comfortable lead quite quickly and won every stage, but there were lots of battles all the way down through the leaderboard. And I think the issue was, as Friday became Saturday, there was some overnight rain.
Yes.
And we knew that sections of Saturday stage, having done our recce, were really, really technical and really tricky.
Yeah, definitely going into Saturday morning, starting off the morning with Al's Playground, kind of an iconic stage here, formerly named Herman Nestoria. It's a very tight, twisty road, a little bit of a 2-track, as I call them here in America.
Yeah.
But
2-track basically is double width. 2 cars can pass.
2-track, I would just say 1 track for each tire. So one single track.
Ignore everything I just said.
Okay, yeah.
It's 1 car width.
But it's a lot different than what we were seeing on Friday. Friday was a bit wider. You could get 2 cars on it without having to pull too far off the road. So that tighter, twistier stuff opening up the day was kind of extreme. And then going into that second stage of Saturday was a big downhill, Menji Creek.
Yeah.
Going in, looking at Lake Superior, starting on the top of the plains there in Baraga, and going to the water, and then immediately heading back towards Marquette into some even tighter, twistier, muddier stages, more logging roads type stuff.
For me, we drove out Al's Playground. It was just fantastic. It totally flowed, and you could really get into a nice rhythm. It was great. I think we were all slightly surprised at Brenton's excuse about the long grass. been quite tricky conditions at the side of the... I thought, so there is at the side, have a look at some of the onboards that we can get you. There is really long grass at the side of the road, and pretty unique. We didn't really see that in any other stages. I was saying to you, it's tricky, you want to know, can you cut in there? And you're like, yeah, it's really difficult in night as well. And explain this whole thinking. I'm sure you'll get lots of sympathy. But.
Yeah, so, Herman Nestoria is a famous stage here, now known as Al's Playground. We've ran that multiple times. Usually in some rallies we'll run it almost...
Get to the grass bit, come on!
4 times we've ran it in some of the rallies, especially when we had that government shutdown. But we ran it at night. And with that overhanging grass covering the road, it's absorbing all your light. You're coming around the corners. You can't see the road at all. And it's tight, twisty, some of those kicks in there, some of those over crests where it's like, a 2 coming in over a crest, just like a little 20 straight and then another 2 right down the crest. It kind of throws you down into that grass.
I can actually have a bit of sympathy. I can see where you're going with it. And I was really surprised. This was something else I learned from you. It's great coming on a rally with BK because he's a proper driver. You won this event? Did you tell us you won this event? No, you didn't.
I almost won the event.
But lots of things. So as I was saying, I was really surprised that there weren't these kind of cuts off the recce. Because in WRC rounds, drivers just literally chuck the recce car off the road and have a look. And you were saying, maybe I shouldn't tell them this because it's still your secret. Should you not tell them?
Okay, I haven't been rallying lately, so we can share the secret.
You share the secret.
Okay. Typically when I'm doing recce, I'll see some cuts, and maybe I don't take them on recce, but I'll note them. In Oregon, when we were doing recce, you were there with me, and we were looking at Boyd Loop Long, and there's some cuts that, he'd say, there's a cut there, and I said, yeah, but I'm not going to take it. I don't want to depress that grass down, because then the people doing recce behind me are going to take that same cut. So you hide those cuts, you keep those secret, and I think we saw a lot of that this weekend, actually. Maybe Brandon was doing some of those cuts, especially on Saturday.
Yeah, for sure. We've seen some of the onboard, and the car it's definitely off the road in places, which it's great. But that certainly the first 2 stages Saturday morning were incredible, before the rain came. But really the rain impacted more on the afternoon when we did Al's Playground and then Menjay Creek twice, and then we had service, and then we moved further
east
towards
Marquette.
For me, what was definitely the trickiest stage of the event, Trouble and Double Trouble.
Yeah, Valikissa was the power stage, the one just before Trouble. Everyone was saying it was a bit rockier, a bit more rough, but Trouble, like you're saying, a proper logging road. You'll see some of the shots coming through there with just the big piles of logs. 20 feet tall of logs, and they're driving right through the middle of them. Kind of reminded me a little bit of Rally GB stuff and stuff like that.
Remember that? Back in the day when Britain had a World Championship round?
But darker, kind of that black dirt.
Yeah.
And when we were seeing that rain, it was like a cake frosting, I like to call it, or toothpaste. Yeah. It's not like a mud like you'd think. And as soon as we saw people coming off stage, that's exactly what they were talking about. It was just turning in and nothing was happening. And you could see people coming off that stage, their hands still shaking, just no feeling.
Yeah, it was incredible. And they were all telling the same story. That, like you say, there was massive understeer in the car and they couldn't get it turned in, couldn't get it rotated. It did, and tires were filling with mud, and it was a really, really tricky stage. And even Brandon Semenuk, second time through it, it got worse. And it was a proper test. And then, of course, from there, it was back over to Marquette for Marquette, the rather confusing combination of Marquette Mountain and Mount Marquette.
Exactly. Yeah, a little confusing there.
Doesn't take a lot to confuse me.
So Mount Marquette and Marquette Mountain, 2 stages, and they're both under 2 miles long. So, you got this super long rally, tons of road sections, extremely long, and all of a sudden you get to the finish here and you got 2 really, really short stages. A lot of opportunity to basically only lose the rally. It's hard to make up time when you only got less than 3 miles for that last little bit of loop there. But we saw an amazing amount of spectators there on the ski hill, taking the chairlift up to the top.
Yeah. A lot of them, I was surprised, a lot of them were walking, but it was $10 to take the chairlift.
Yeah.
A lot of them took the walking option. Very proud of you. I would have taken the chairlift, obviously. But I think the big key, you talk about the power stage, that again played a key role in the determination of
the limited 4-wheel drive championship.
Yeah, it did.
So going into this championship, we saw basically all season a couple of really good battles, but at Ojibwe it came down to Javier and Matt Dickinson in the limited 4-wheel drive, and at Ojibwe, power stage. If Matt Dickinson didn't win that power stage, the championship was solidified for Javier.
Yeah.
And he won that power stage. They came off the stage comparing times with the co-drivers on the side of the road because they want to know right then, right there. And KJ Miller came up to Matt Dickinson's co-driver and was knocking on the window, you know, what's your time? And they're saying, told him his time. He said, well, I need the tenths. Point what? And at 0.3 of a second, Matt won the stage and got the points, and then that brought it here, carried it along, moved on to this, again, coming down to the power stage, Valakissa. So the whole rally, you know, we saw Javier saying, cruising, getting comfortable lead. He was consistently putting down times a little bit faster than Matt, but Matt was set on the power stage. He needed to win that power stage to stay in the fight. And when it came down to it, Matt lost it just by about 3 or 4 seconds there.
It was difficult because I think Matt was saying that, you know, he'd been out of the car for a long time. And first thing Friday morning, there wasn't a Friday morning, but on the first loop in Friday, there were really close trading times. And then Javier just seemed to find a bit of momentum, a bit of a rhythm. And he got away, didn't he? And when you look at the stage end interviews, Matt was coming off, you know, at one point he'd stripped down to just the vest. He got the guns out and everything. He was working so hard. And Javier just looked cool and relaxed, and it looked as though it was kind of coming to him. But it's been a great battle all season long. And there was, of course, the limited two-wheel drive fight as well.
Yeah, so Sean Donnelly and Chris Sladek. Chris Sladek bringing out that new Acura Integra, brand new, with the Hart Rally team. Brand new car, first event for it. Obviously, though, Sean Donnelly just had to finish the rally to make the win. So, you know, he kind of pulled the pace back and said, you know, I'm going to do this one smart. I want to lock in the championship, this being his first year in rally at all. Yeah. And then his first championship, you know, bringing it home. That's really amazing to see.
It's incredible. And you know as well, better than anybody that, well, not better than anybody, certainly better than me, that actually just dialing back that pace isn't easy, is it?
No, you know, it's that thing where you're kind of trying to stay cool, calm, and collected, and then all of a sudden that's when you start making those little mistakes. So it is a real challenge, especially for a person like Sean, where we're seeing, you know, an athlete coming from wrestling background wanting to always be aggressive, you know. Who goes into a wrestling match trying to do 8/10?
Yeah.
Right?
No, you're going to get your head ripped off.
Exactly.
100%. Yeah.
So thinking about that going into this rally, you know, you could see him every single stage. He was just trying to keep himself calm, not get excited and say, I just got to bring it home.
It was amazing. I mean, as people, we've got to talk briefly about Brandon Semenuk.
Brandon winning all 8 events,
Yeah.
having a fantastic season, and being able to debut the new car at Ojibwe and actually end the season on a good note.
Yeah.
With
I
that
mean,
brand
it
new
didn't miss a beat, did it? You know, he went from old car to new car. Nothing changed. It just continued the dominance. It was great, and he's driven. Just a brilliant. It's easy to criticise that the lack of competition and all that. What can Brandon Semenuk do? The rules are the rules. You know, he can only drive to the rules. He can only drive the car he's given. For me, you know, I would desperately like to see the guy in WRC to come over and get a shot in a Rally 2 car. Clearly, he's a big talent. You talked to Keaton Williams. Keaton Williams has sat alongside Takamoto Katsuta, some really high-level names. And Keaton says the guy's as quick as anybody I've sat with. So he deserves a shot. But we know he's going to be back here next year with Travis Pastrana alongside in the team. That's going to be sensational, you know, to see those two back fighting and battling. It'll be great. And everything we've said about Semenuk, we've got to say about Patrick Gruszka as well. He's dominated RC2 class and did the same here.
Yeah, you know, definitely Pat coming into the season, we were kind of seeing him, you know, just wanting to build more experience. You know, at Oregon, he was talking about having not driven in dust so much or at all. You know, he said, I'd never driven in dust before. You know, maybe a couple cars back, having to deal with that dust and having just kind of a learning year for him.
Yeah.
But learning to win championships, it seems like.
Yeah, no, exactly. It's great, and it'd be great. It's really nice as well to see a proper a proper Rally 2 car, R5 car. And we saw a lot of them here. Yeah, Enda McCormack was here as well. There were a few of those cars out. We need more of them to really spice the championship up again next year. But no, great effort from Gruszka. And just, a number of crews really sort of stand out. You know, we go back to perhaps the regional rally, which actually was called the Lake Superior Performance Memorial Rally.
Yep.
And an incredible effort from your mate Jacques.
Jacques.
You can see where it's quite complicated. Jacques. And his father, Ron.
Yes. So, you know, Zach, Hard Knocks Rally as they go by. Him and his dad, you know, when they started out rallying, they would switch driver, co-driver. But now it's kind of his dad is like, I'm just going to co-drive, let Zach do it. And it seems like Zach knows what he's doing. His dad seems to know what he's doing too.
Yeah.
But not without some hardships during this rally. You know, Hard Knocks Rally is the proper name for their situation here at this rally.
Yeah.
Good day to start. He told me on the day one, they weren't looking at times at all. Ended day one in the lead pretty comfortably, about a minute, maybe 45 seconds, something like that. coming off of stage 15, double trouble, coming off that stage, only those, let's say 3-4 mile stage left in Mount Marquette and Marquette Mountain, and they're coming off of 15 with just a golf ball size hole in the radiator, pouring water out.
In fairness, we saw the cloud of steam before we saw the car, and the whole car, when it stopped at a stop line, was engulfed in the steam. And at this point, we were parked up at a stop line. We weren't entirely sure what time. We'd seen the zero come through, but we thought, we've got a minute or two. And then suddenly it was action stations, wasn't it, in the car, because this thing had arrived, and we all leapt out of the car and ran over. But for me, what that incident really showed was the camaraderie and just the sense of togetherness in this rally community, and particularly on that rally. Every single competitor that came off the stage stopped. Could they help? Can they offer anything? Can they do anything? And fortunately, they managed to fix it.
Yeah, it was so cool to see. You got a hole in the radiator, you're topping off the water, they pinch the radiator, that little channel there to try to stop some of the flow. You're not going to get all of that, but you might just slow it down a little bit, and that was kind of their plan. But going from all the way the stages double trouble, all the way back to Mount Marquette and Marquette Mountain, so hard to say the two of those, but coming back, that's a very long road section. So another competitor towed him so that they wouldn't have to keep the car running, risk that overheating throughout. But they did make one stop at a lake to fill up all their water bottles. So they're grabbing, I don't think it was Lake Superior water. I think it was one of the smaller inland lakes. But
it was a great lake at that point, wasn't
it was a great lake for them.
For me, coming to the American Championship, to ARA for the first time, that's something that really surprises you, that outside assistance is allowed. You're allowed to help each other. And you tell us that great story from when you were here.
So I think it was 2014. I was battling with Sam Keltec, another local guy from here in Michigan, and he was leading the regional. I was right at his heels, just a few seconds back. We finished that last stage. I know he beat me on stage for time, so there was really no chance of me bringing it home. And about a mile out of the stage, I see Sam pulled over on the side of the road. And and in proper form, anyone could just drive through and say, I'm going to go take the win. But I pulled over, I towed Sam back probably 10 miles to the finish, unhooked the strap, I pushed his car through the time control. He took home the win. I don't want to win like that, but I think that's
He's a very good man.
Yeah, I think
He's a very good man.
Across the board in America is just the sportsmanship. Seeing other
100%.
people. Mike Engel was who was basically would inherit the win had Zach pulled off. He pulled over and said, "What can I do? How can I help?"
No, it is. It's one of the things that makes American rallying great, I have to say. But the other things are things like this. The views and just the places that this championship takes you to. It's remarkable. Okay, in February we start just down the road.
Snowdrift, about 5 or 6 hours away.
5 or 6 hours. Everywhere is 5 or 6 hours away.
Yeah, so Snowdrift starts in Atlanta, Michigan, in northern lower Michigan. It's kind of confusing because Michigan is in two parts.
So does that make everybody a troll down there?
Yeah, so everybody underneath the Mackinac Bridge that connects the two sections of Michigan, split up by Lake Huron and Lake Michigan there. And everyone under the bridge is known as a troll. Everyone up here in Marquette or anywhere in the UP is known as a Youper.
Youper. He's a troll.
I'm a troll.
He's a troll.
So starting off Saturday morning, downtown Lance. Last year this rally, unfortunately, Al Dantes Jr., one of the locals here from Lance, passed away in a tragic accident. And, here they've renamed the rally Lake Superior Performance Memorial Rally. And that kind of encapsulates a few others in the rally community as well. But Al was such a big part of the community here, and they actually had his car out at the Park Expose on Saturday morning.
It was unbelievably moving. I wasn't here for the rally last year, but I was fortunate enough to meet Al, I think in Southern Ohio. I can't remember exactly which event, but just a great character. And, I kind of sat back at the desk and wrote words about him. But then it's only when you actually come here and come to his hometown of Lance and just feel that emotion. Steve Gingras, the co-chair of this event, stood and talked about what had happened, and you could hear a pin drop, and it was just unbelievably emotional. Just as well to look at the car, and lots of friends, family, team members, everybody has signed and left messages on the car, and it's it rips your heart out. But the guy meant so much to this part of the world, and it's only been here. When everybody's got an Al Dante story, you've got a bunch of them, and it's always the good ones. You just feel for the whole community here. And when Steve had finished talking, it was incredible, just the kind of sense of togetherness again, and just, as I say, the absolute emotion and feeling, genuine feeling for the guy.
Yeah, you know, it was amazing to see his family come out and help pay tribute with as well as all the community. You saw Al's car there, and it was just covered in local businesses prior to the signatures. But I mean, just all the local businesses. He was such a big part of the community here, and everyone loved him. And you know, he really brought the community together with so many different aspects and lasting things, with the last stage selfie and a couple other, you know, just Al things. You know, it was so great. They had all the competitors step forward, come to the stage. They had all the volunteers step back, put their phones up, light up the stage, and not sure exactly who it was, held the phone up, did that final last stage selfie of the event, and got all the competitors in it at the podium. And that was one of the things Al was known for, was just starting that last stage, getting everyone together at the time control and taking a selfie. You know, you've made it almost to the finish of the rally, but you at least made it this far. Let's remember this moment. And there's so many of those. He took selfies with everybody, but that is something that's really stuck in the community, and I think is going to be a big thing going forward. That about does it for us here in Northern Michigan, in the Upper Peninsula of Northern Michigan. If you want to recap all the events this year of the ARA GreenAPU National Championship, head to dirtfish.com, click that Live Center tab, scroll on down, hit that Load More button, and review all those interviews, see that action. There's so many cool stories. You know, we can only cover so much. It's hard to make a 10-hour video and keep people watching, so we put it all on Live Center, and you can catch all those stories.
It's all there, but we do have to go now, because I can't believe I didn't take you up on the offer of the glove. My hand has turned blue while we've been filming.
Frozen to the mic.
Yeah, exactly. It's been great. And yeah, absolutely go to dirtfish.com, check exactly what Brenton said, and we will see you next year.